My project is on can heart disease be reversed or improved with a plant-based diet? This project is rooted on the documentary Game Changers we all watched. And I think personally it affected my diet in a positive way. Um, I've implemented more of a plant-based diet um, in my diet, but I have not completely gotten rid of meat as I think it still provides a good amount of protein. Um, so the first slide is about UN sustainability goals. And since mine is on heart health and which applies to everybody. The first goal is number 15, which is life on land. Um, this touches on the importance of preserving natural land, plants, and animals that provide us with food. And because they provide us with fibrous foods and all kinds of vitamins that provide us with energy. So I think it's very important not to deforest or um, do any kind of desertification of land. The second goal is goal number 2, which is zero hunger. And since this project is focused on nutritional value and heart health, it's imperative not to have any or to at least try to reduce as much of the hunger in the entire world. So since there are a growing number of cases of hunger, um, going above 800 million cases worldwide, this can be changed by increasing agriculture like farming to provide natural foods and fruits, um, but also lowering costs so people can afford them. Another positive that comes out of this is vegans will most likely be prominent because of the low cost in agricultural farming. Um, so people would likely lean toward vegetables and fruit instead of meat from animals. Next, I'd like to touch on the types of heart diseases and common symptoms between them. So, first of all, there's congenital heart disease, which is basically an issue with the structure of the heart. The second one is arrhythmia. A problem within the name is rhythm, so it affects the rhythm and rate of a person's heart. So this causes some irregularities in breathing and such. Next one is coronary or artery disease, which is it's basically when the arteries become too narrow, so blood cannot supply the heart with oxygen. The next one is dilated cardiomyopathy, which is essentially the pumping mechanism in the heart that gets that is diseased. And the last one that's written down is pulmonary stenosis, which is also another it's an issue with the pump. So it's just the narrowing of the valve, which is an issue because blood cannot flow through. And so the common symptoms of all these heart diseases include dizziness, fast heartbeats, pain throughout the entire body, sweating, and heavy breathing or breathlessness. So some very common hypotheses on plant-based diets is that it involves lowered cholesterol levels, meaning there is unsaturated fats, which leads to better heart health and lowered risks for disease. And the second hypothesis and most common beliefs are that animal protein or fats, um, it lowers heart health and increases the chance of heart disease. So, is animal fat bad for the heart and body? So, as I mentioned earlier, many beliefs are that saturated fats and cholesterol inside of animal products such as meats equal high risk of heart disease, and the deception of vegetable fat is that it's unsaturated fat, meaning it's liquid at room temperature. So it is not as bad for the plasma in the blood, which then is believed to be lowered in cholesterol, therefore less heart disease. And animal fat, vice versa, is saturated, so therefore it's solid at room temperature, meaning there is a high risk of decreased or sorry, there's high risk of increased plasma cholesterol levels. Um, so this is a very common misconception, and it's falsified information because supermarkets and consumers are easily deceived because of this. So when unsaturated fats become hydrogenated, it essentially becomes exactly like what a saturated fat will look like. Therefore, it increases cholesterol levels, so it would be the same effect as an animal fat. So there's a lot of manipulation of consumers within supermarkets, which should be changed. And there's no conclusive fact that animal fats are indeed a real risk for the heart. So the plant-based diet, um, so there is a study that a lot of men who were vegan showed approximately 50% lowered risk of three kinds of heart disease, including ischemic heart disease, cardiovascular disease, and cerebrovascular disease. And all these averages came out as a BMI factor that is low, therefore, it lowered the risk. And this is all thanks to a plant based diet. So, this could potentially mean that plant based diets are, in fact, better for the heart. Um, the reason being it's higher in fiber levels, folate, and high in antioxidants and phytochemicals, which also equate to lower trans fat and serum cholesterol levels, which then leads to a lower heart disease or lower risk of heart disease. So another positive about plant-based diets is that plasma cholesterol levels in vegans are in fact lower. So in the picture on the right, it says that, or it depicts a normal artery and then an artery that's built up by the plaque due to atherosclerosis. And so, due to a plant-based diet, vegans are able to actually reduce the overall plasma cholesterol levels due to atherosclerosis by about 35%. And this means this is just like in the Game Changers film when the centrifuge was spun and the blood and the plasma were divided, and the clarity of the plasma became more clear within the vegans. So this is a study to prove that. And with help of exercise, no smoking, the atherosclerosis was actually reversed by the reduction of the diameter by approximately 2.2%. So it actually opened up back to the normal artery. Finally, some vaccines that should help with heart disease is the influenza vaccine, which is to help with the annual flu, and people with heart disease should be less affected. Pneumococcal vaccine, which helps with pneumonia, which is pretty much like a common cold, but is not good for heart diseased patients. So that'll protect them from it. Tdap vaccine, which helps with tetanus and contagious coughs. Finally, zoster vaccines that prevent rashes like shingles. Yeah. Thank you very much for listening to my project.